So welcome back. We're talking now with Laren Kutsko, and he is the owner of the Entrepreneur Source. You've been on the show several times. The last time you came on, we were giving away your book, and a lot of people called in for it. And I want you to talk a little bit about yourself, what you all do, and about the book, so we can open up the lines to the audience. And listen up, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Carol. We were talking about investing alternatives. So it was great having Ryan here the last half hour. It's almost like a whole hour devoted to money. He was talking about the stock market. It is at an all-time high right now. But the question is, I guess, what else is out there? So everybody knows that the stock market is a key part of your investment portfolio when you're starting to think about retirement, which happens out in the future sometime. And we all know that diversifying your portfolio is the best thing to do with the stock market. But what about the rest of your portfolio? What are some alternatives to the stock market? And so that's what I do. I coach my clients as we're looking into alternative ways to invest your money, particularly in small business ownership. So local small businesses that you can own that are a higher return, because not only do you put your money in, but you also put in some of your time and your energy and your skill into the business, so you get a better reward for your investment.
And your services are free.
Yeah, so what I do with my clients, I mean, similar to how Ryan works with his financial planning clients, or an insurance agent or a real estate agent works with their clients. Yeah, the service is completely free. We start out by doing an assessment of what your goals are, what your skills are, what your interests are, and then we look into finding specific business models that will help you to accomplish those goals by becoming the owner of that business.
Now, I also want you to talk about some of the different ones that you have, because you have many of them, and there's some of them will not believe of some of the things that you have, that it's not just your regular typical franchises.
That's right. Yeah, we work with, at the Entrepreneur Source, we work with about 175 different business models. Anything from the high cost, high investment, $1.2 million to open an urgent care, right? So people are very interested in the medical field, high growth area, but expensive to open that kind of business. You have to employ doctors while you're waiting for the insurance payments to come in. There's all kinds of equipment and liability that goes into that. It's a booming business, but it's expensive to open, all the way down to the kind of business where maybe you own multiple vending machines and you put those around into community colleges and hotels and schools and different types of locations, and then you have to do very little work. That might be a $30,000 investment. So from the $30,000 on the low end all the way up to 1.2 on the high end in 40 different industries, I help match my clients up with the business model that's going to make the most sense for them.
The person that would be your client, let's talk about that person, because I know there's several types, okay, and I want to talk about them all. Go ahead.
Yeah, so a big one is the person that is, well, they kind of fall into a few different categories. So I would say tired, fired, and retired are a couple of them, right? So you get somebody who's tired of their job, right? I mean, a lot of people out there, in fact, the Gallup organization tells us that only a third of the people that are working, of employees, are actually engaged in their work. That means they wake up every day and they want to go in and do a good job. They're excited to go to work today. A third of all the people that are going to work are actually engaged in what they're doing. It's sad.
Thank God,
it's sad,
I'm part of that
right?
third.
Exactly. I mean, it kind of makes you feel warm, like, oh, it's not just me. Other people are just beating their heads up against the wall every day. So the 70% of the people out there are just tired of their jobs. They're tired of having a boss. They know they've got the skills and the competency to actually do a better job as the boss. That's a huge part of my client base. What else is out there? Do I have to continue to ask the HR department if I can go out for the afternoon and go to a doctor's appointment, or can I actually be responsible for myself as an adult, right? So that's one group. Then you've got basically the fired people. So, this summer here in Phoenix, Intel does a big layoff. Honeywell is doing a big layoff. Honeywell is constantly furloughing employees. When I talk to my clients, I've got this sort of strange, vicious cycle of employees that are rotating from Intel to Honeywell to General Dynamics to Raytheon. I mean, it's you talk to them and they talk about the environment at work and the toxicity and how they're eager to figure out what's next. But then I ask them who they're interviewing with, and they're interviewing with the employers of my other clients who are also just laid off and are interviewing with the place that they're just leaving. I mean, it just is. You can understand why it's only 30%. No one knows what to do and we've got all this underutilized skill out there in the world. And so the people that are in career transition, voluntary or involuntary, are a big part of my client base because they're trying to figure out what's next. A lot of them are older, so 50 plus workers who have been downsized or are afraid to be downsized. They've got some money set aside for retirement. Possibly they might take a severance or an early retirement, but they're not really ready to retire, or they financially can't. But what does make financial sense in a lot of situations is for them to take a portion of their retirement, and the IRS actually allows them to leave their 401k in their 401k, but instead of investing into mutual funds or publicly traded stocks, they invest it into themselves by opening their own business and buying shares with their 401k of their own small business.
And there's a lot of people out there that are of that ilk who they think they're ready to retire. They might have even already decided to retire and find out, oh, I'm not really ready.
That's right.
It's not for me.
That's right. So my cute little saying here, so tired, fired, and retired, that's the third group, right? So you've actually got the people that are actually retired. They moved to Phoenix to be snowbirds, and then they find out that they can only play so many rounds of golf or something, and so wouldn't they rather start a part-time business? And so I introduce a lot of my clients to part-time businesses that they can do for a portion of the week, not their whole lives, but it gives them a little bit of extra income. It gives them to work. It gives them the ability to work on something, to be challenged. Maybe they want to get into business with their spouse. I have a lot of clients that I see as couples that we're looking into business models together to learn about the opportunities that are out there.
Or sometimes they want to buy it for one of their children.
That's right. I mean, there's kind of this interesting phenomenon now where you've got these baby boomers who have retired and they can't figure out what their millennial children are going to do for work. And so they'll actually go into business together. I have fathers that call me all the time and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about businesses, but it's not for me. Right. It's for my daughter.
Right. Now, the book, real quickly, it is Your Career 2.0, and it is a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. Let's talk about real quickly, because I want to start giving them away. We've got at least 5 of them that we want to start giving away right now.
Yeah, this is a great book. There's a group of people that do what I do. So we're with the Entrepreneur Source. We all own our independent practices, but we're part of a network. And that network is about 150 coaches strong around the country, and we all work with clients in the same way. We got together, we wrote this book, and we really just shared some stories and some learnings from listening to clients over the last 32 years doing this business. And people are saying the things that we were just talking about. They're tired of work. They're not feeling productive. They're not waking up excited to do it. They're just sort of punching the clock, ready for their retirement to roll in until they turn 59 and a half. And then on the other side of that is the investor. So you've got the battered career syndrome and you've got the battered investor syndrome. And it's both things. Ryan was just talking about the stock market's way up, but unfortunately, what goes up must come down, and people get woozy looking at the balance of their 401k. And so one of the options available to us all is to take a portion of your retirement and actually work on it now so that it grows even faster than the stock market.
So we're going to open up our lines to the audience for everyone to call in, and I'm going to let you call throughout the rest of the show for it. It's Your Career 2.0, and it's a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. Our number here, we have 5 of them we're going to start giving away now. So 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. You can call you direct if you want to do a consultation with him to find out a little bit more about it at 602-900-9213.
That's right.
And then also his website is startuphelp.com. So start calling in. We're starting to get our calls. We've got 5 of them that we're giving away right now. So 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. So we're going to go to a break soon. What would be your final words before the break?
My final words before the break.
What about the book? Yeah, I got to do that.
Call now. It's a great book. You'll love it. It's a great gift for Christmas.
What it is, it's going to give you some information, and this is something that maybe it's you, maybe it's someone that you know that's been in this situation. We all know somebody out there who's not happy with their job. We all know somebody who got fired, who retired and decided that it wasn't what they wanted to do. Here's another avenue. Give us a call here. It's Your Career 2.0. Give us a call, 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. I have news.
But traded it all if I gave it all away for one thing.
So we're back. My board operator's so busy taking phone numbers that are calling in for the book. So keep on calling. We've got how many more do we have to give away now? About 3 or 4. We're going to add it up. What we're going to do is we're going to keep on going on this, and we're going to add 5 more books to the whole thing because we already got rid of them.
I mean, if the demand's so high, we can. It's a great book. You got to get one.
Okay. So again, our number here 602-277-5369 and toll free. It's 1-866-536-1100. Everyone's calling in for the book. It's Your Career 2.0, a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. Why is it, since this is it's a free service that you offer, I want to talk a little bit about why people don't necessarily just get into it right away. When they talk to you, what isn't it that it takes a little while for everybody to start, working with you?
Yeah. I mean, I could just ask you, what are some reasons why you wouldn't want to open a business?
See, no, for me, I wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for me, I think that people out there that would be listening, I think people should want to do that because, I mean, we do need to have people working for other people, but I do think that if you're that type of person who would like to be your own boss, mm-hmm. Opening up my own business would be the first thing I would do. If I was in my position when I started my own business, I would have called you mm-hmm. because I wouldn't have thought to know what's out there. I wouldn't have known.
Right. Well, and you said something that was really key. You said, for certain types of people, it's really good to work for someone else. And for some types of people, it's really good to have other people working for you. And the first thing I do is help my clients understand which type are you, right? So we're actually going to do an assessment. It's science-based. It talks about what your communication style is, how you influence other people, how you follow rules and procedures, how you respond to obstacles and challenges, things like that. And that's actually going to help me determine what kinds of businesses are a good fit for you, and it's going to help you determine what kinds of roles are a good fit for you. And then you said something else that's really valuable too, is not everybody knows all the different possibilities that are out there. So the reason that I work with franchises is because it's all about decreasing risk, right? So when you've got somebody making a very scary decision about transitioning from the traditional job market into self-employment, that's not something that is just completely straightforward, right? So you can start a business from scratch all by yourself, right? You can write a 20-page business plan. You can try to find a business loan. You can, put all that together, try to find your first customer, deal with competition all by yourself. But I think when you go around and you talk to existing business owners in that situation, they'll tell you how difficult it is. You don't actually have to look too far to find failed small businesses. I mean, it happens all the time, right? I mean, we talked about 70% of the people that are employees are unhappy and dissatisfied. Well, businesses fail 75% of the time, right? And within the first 5 years of a startup. So partnering with a franchise that's done it before in a different market, where there's hundreds of other business owners that do the same thing that you're doing, that you're meeting with every week, that you're getting together face-to-face with once a year at an annual conference, that you've got pages and pages and history of operations manuals to follow, that's extremely helpful. To have somebody that you can call every week when you're going through the hard, difficult times of owning a business, to not be by yourself in that process is a big part of why we're hooking people up with franchises. You
also said something that perked my ears up again, because there's so many different kinds. A lot of people just think of the, Kentucky Frieds or whatever, and they say, yeah, that might be something I'd like to do. There are so many different ones that people don't even know. I guess you need to find out about yourself really first, like you said, and then find out what's out there, because again, you have access to knowing some things that people would never know about.
That's right. Of the 175 businesses that I work with, 8 are in the food industry.
8. Unbelievable.
8, right? So of the 175 that I work with, 9 are going to be businesses that you've heard of before. So 95% of the people that work with me and go through this process, at the end of it say, I looked at businesses that I never would have looked at if I wasn't working with you. Because the only things that I knew of that were franchises were the businesses that when I was driving down the street, I saw the signs, right? So I knew about Jimmy John's and Chick-fil-A and Great Clips, right? But I didn't know that there was a consulting business that I can do from home that has a startup of $50,000 that I can do from anywhere in the country, and you're going to help me get going, and I can make $400,000 a year, right? I didn't know that that was out there. So all the things that we're looking at are businesses that aren't necessarily brands that are household names, right? Your customer is not even necessarily a household owner or a consumer. A lot of the franchises are actually B2B, business to business models, which is really nice for a few reasons. One of them is work-life balance. When your customers are consumers, that means you're largely working in hours when consumers are buying things. But if you're transitioning from a traditional job where you've been going to work Monday through Friday and you like having your weekends off, it might be a good idea to have a business where your customers are other businesses, because then they need you from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, right? So that's a big part of what we're evaluating is what is the ideal lifestyle for you? What hours do you want to be focused on your business? And let's connect you with businesses that match.
And it's a free service. He doesn't, it doesn't cost you anything to work with him. You get paid by the people who you place there, right?
That's right. Yeah, my fees get paid for by the community of businesses that we work with. So I only get paid if you open a business, and I get paid by the business, not you.
Now, the book is called Your Career 2.0. It's a survival guide for the battered career and investor syndrome. We just threw in about 4 more books here that we're going to give away. So keep on calling, and I'll let you call for the next 10 minutes. Our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And it's biz startuphelp.com. That's the website you can check him out at. You can also call him direct. Obviously, he does free consultations because everything he does is free. It's 602-900-9213. We're lowering the amount of books that we have now, so keep on calling 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. I think that what you offer is awesome for especially the people out there that got in that position in the last, 5-10 years ago. Well, I don't know how long ago it is now, where the crash came, and they're just not able to get back on their feet. There's so many people that I know of out there right now that are not able to get back up on their feet. And they say that they get in these excuse modes, right?
Yeah.
And then, and I don't know whether, and again, I don't know whether or not it comes into place when people are taking their Social Security and all of that with you, and all. I'm sure you talk to them about that too. But everyone has an excuse after another why not to do something, and they're going downhill. Why not do something for yourself, right?
That's right. I mean, at some point, if you're feeling like you're comfortable where you are, you have to get out of your comfort zone. But that's not an easy thing to do. It's way easier to say that. And so a big part of my service is just walking next to you through that process, right? The first time that you ever bought a car, you don't want to go to the car dealership by yourself, right? Even now, even the 12th time you go buy a car, taking a friend is a great way to do that. Bring a friend into the coaching session with me. I'm the trusted person that will take you as you go around and look at different business opportunities that are out there. I'll help make it a safe place for you to explore. The other big thing that we do is figure out the financing. So a lot of people assume they have to be very wealthy or doing very well to buy a business, but it's just not true. The financing options that are out there, the Small Business Administration makes it very straightforward to get a small business startup loan. A lot of my clients, if they have a credit score above 680, are qualifying for a $150,000 working capital loan from the Small Business Administration. Guaranteed by the Small Business Administration, and I introduce them to lenders that are offering that. It has a 10-year term, prime plus 2.25% to 2.75% interest rate, and they can use that to start the business. And in some cases, they can even use it to pay themselves a salary while the business is getting ramped up. And then the other source of financing is the one I mentioned earlier about rolling over your retirement, not taking a tax penalty, and continuing to leave it in your retirement account, but to invest that money into your own business instead of somebody else's business. There
are so many different ways that somebody can get involved because I think that's the biggest thing that they're worried about. Is it's going to cost a lot of money.
That's right. And so what we do is figure out, just like when you buy a house, that's one of the benefits of opening a small business is because you can finance it. That's one of the reasons that a lot of people like to invest into real estate is because they can leverage, they can borrow the money that they're using to buy the real estate. And buying a small business is no different, right? So if you have 10% down, if you have $10,000 in cash, we're going to be able to find you the other $100,000 that you need to open your business. We can find you a business that you start, like I said, for $50,000, and then you'll have the other $50,000 to help make up and have some margin during the first few months before the business starts making money.
Well, we have 2 more books that we're giving away here. Our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You're going to get the book Your Career 2.0. 2.0, A Survival Guide for the Battered Career and Investor Syndrome. Call him. Everything he does is free, so he does a free consultation, and that number to call him is 602-900-9213. If it's not for you, you know somebody in this situation. So give us a call here. Get the book, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You can call him direct at 602-900-9213. Check him out on his website. It is startuphelp.com. Again, I'm going to let you call for the next 5 minutes. Keep on calling because we want everyone to have the book, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100, or call him direct at 602-900-9213. It is bizstartuphelp.com.